Hi, my name is Pam Lieber, and I am a mental health therapist with the Wendt Center for Loss and Healing, who served as the mental health consultant for the Voices of Now Ensemble.
I'm Azaria Davis, and I served as the Wendt Center intern.
And so the role that the two of us played was to originally help to build the group cohesion and to allow our young people to start to build trust with one another and with each of us, so that as the group unfolded and they began sharing some of the losses in their lives, they were able to do so knowing that they were supported and surrounded by our skill and by our care, and that they did so in a way that they knew that their stories would be honored. Pretty quickly, when the pandemic hit, this turned to a virtual operation, and then things shifted a little.
When everything shifted, we had to provide emotional support through a screen, which made it challenging at times. We would either be in a group format, or we would break out into small groups or to one-on-one. And the way that we maintained connection was through the different group messages, sharing memes and GIFs, checking in with the kids over the weekends, just making sure that they're okay and it wasn't technical difficulties. And yeah.
Hi, my name is Fareed Mostofi.
Hi, and I'm Marissa LaRose.
Hi, my name is Trey McMichael.
And we had the privilege of being the directors of this year's Wendt Center Ensemble for Voices of Now. The Wendt Center has collaborated with the Voices of Now program for over a decade now. And every year we explore with a group of young artists the experience of grief through the eyes of a young person. What do we learn? What are we still wondering about? And how can our stories inform the public about the experience of grief from our perspectives? And so this year we started our process in the rehearsal room. We started building a script using conversation, individual writing. We wrote collaborative poetry, and we started figuring out how we can use our bodies to express our stories. And some of the themes that came up were the surprising things that remind us of the people we've lost, things we see on the street, things we hear people say. We also started to explore the other losses we experience when someone dies, becoming distant from family, moving, and things like that. Finally, we started to look at the words and actions from the people around us that help and the ones that don't.
And then sometime in mid-March, we started rehearsing from home and rehearsing over Zoom and figuring out how we could transition this process to be online. So we started really diving into how does processing grief change when you're also processing an epidemic? What helps and what really doesn't? How do you actually find an escape when you're in the exact same surroundings always, and when maybe some of those escapes that you usually have to escape grief or process grief aren't accessible anymore? What else can you find?
So after all of that discussion and exploration, both over Zoom and in the rehearsal room, through collaboration with our artists and us as the directors, we created our new play, Escape Plan, which is exploring several key questions, including what has it been like to grieve during this epidemic? How do you grieve? What helps? What doesn't help? And what do you need? So we hope that this video gives you some insight into how our artists think those questions should be answered, and questions that we think you should answer for yourself. We hope you enjoy. This is Escape Plan.
Hi, my name is Deshaun Brooks, and I'm dedicating this performance to my mom, Stacey Brown.
My name is Monique Johnson, and I am dedicating this performance to my brother, Makai Isaiah Thomas.
Hi, my name is Jasmine McBride, and I'm dedicating this performance to my father, James Enoch Strong.
Hi, my name is Destiny, and I'm dedicating this poem to my mom and my dad.
My name is Elijah, and I dedicate this performance to my grandmother, Mr. Hill, my friend Latrell, my friend Lil Mo, D Money, and Mr. Stanley.
My name is Allen. I'm here to represent my brother Worky.
I'm tired of seeing the inside of my house.
I'm tired of FaceTiming with my friends.
Taking online classes.
Zoom meeting.
I'm tired of sitting in the house and not being able to do anything.
I need to escape.
I wish I could go see my friends.
I wish I could go to the mall, just the mall.
I wish I could see my school.
Get my grades up.
Play sports with my team.
I wish I could go outside, go to a concert, do something.
I would love to hear some music right now.
What's going to happen when people are in their houses for too long?
Why does the president keep making it like it's not a big deal? This saying it's a big deal, then making a rule and then changing it.
What will life look like after this?
What will we have lost?
What are we losing now?
In quarantine, you don't just lose being outside the house. You lose everything that goes with it.
You lose interactions with your friends and you lose interactions with your family.
You're having to create what life looks like now. It's an environment that you have no choice in making.
It's like grief. When you're grieving, it's like they are being taken away, just like when you're quarantined.
Right now, we're trapped in the house until we go outside again. With grief, you're trapped in the feeling. You don't really know when it's going to end.
You feel alone. There may be someone in the house, but it still feels like you're alone.
I've heard people say what's happening right now feels like you're out of control. When you're trying to control, it feels like you can't control. And grief is like that.
Grieving is like trying to follow a map with missing roads.
Being in quarantine is like stretching an elastic band, but you don't know how far it will go.
The road you follow is foggy and dark.
The elastic band continues to stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch.
Until it pops.
You can't always find where you are on the map. Sometimes you run into a good memory.
The party bus on my 10th birthday.
Watching a movie as a family.
When I held my baby brother for the first time.
The smell of grandma's breakfast.
Eggs.
Bacon.
Muffins.
Pancakes and waffle.
But then you turn the corner and have reminders of the bad memories.
A dark alley.
A cemetery.
Any loud noises.
Being at home.
How can you grieve when you see things all the time that remind you of their death?
What do we need when we're grieving?
Sports. I let my anger out on the court.
I listen to music.
I tried going outside.
But now we're stuck inside.
I can still talk to my friends, but they never lost someone in their house. It's not as heavy. They don't feel it every day.
My dad, James, died from a serious car crash in 2018.
My baby brother, Makai, died in 2015 when he was 17 days old. When I held him for the first time, I was scared to hurt him, and it was huge for me because I didn't know how long he would be alive. He was very warm. That's what I remember most. He had the middle name Isaiah, which would have been my name if I was a boy. He was born at the same hospital as me.
When my dad died, I thought that everything was over. My grades dropped from a 3.0 to a 2.0. I was devastated, so I got help from my therapist and school administrators. Once we stopped going to school because of the coronavirus, it got a lot harder for me to get that face-to-face help that I needed. I'm also a four-season athlete and use sports to distract myself about my father. But now with the pandemic, I think about him more and it's making me feel bad a lot.
When Makai died, I beat myself up because I felt like I should have been able to save him. I still blame myself for it, even though it's not really my fault. I told my sister that heaven was like his Band-Aid and that he didn't have to hurt anymore. He was supposed to be my Band-Aid. All my siblings held me together like a Band-Aid.
After my father passed away, many people started to tell me that everything happens for a reason. But they never could tell me what the reason was, so it left me in the guilt zone. Even today, it still feels like it's my fault that my father passed away. Because of that phrase, everything happens for a reason.
Sometimes people don't know how to talk to us.
Or when they do talk to us, they say things like,
"What's on your mind?"
Talk about it.
Why don't you talk about it?
Stop asking me to talk about it.
Saying leave me alone is not always a bad thing. It's not disrespectful, it just means I don't want to talk.
Adults will say, you need to talk more.
Just because I'm a kid, does that mean I should have to jump when you say jump?
Can't I say what I want to say when I want to say it?
Sometimes silence is louder than speaking out loud.
My mom stays Brown died when I was 2. I don't have many memories. They tell me she was a good cook. She used to lather everything up with butter. They say she loved to sing earlier. They tell me I look like her, but the older I get, the less I look like her. I feel bad because I feel like I'm losing her. The more time goes on, the less I remember her. People tell me something, and then when I tell someone else, they say,
She told you that? That's not true.
you can't really tell what's true and what's not. I can't remember how she died, why she died. I wish I could remember. I can't remember feeling change because when she died, I was so little. I was just starting to learn how to walk and talk. It was the premise that changed. The fact that I didn't have a mom. Now I have to go to school and hear about people who hate their moms. I didn't have the experience to hate my mom. I wish I had the experience to go on trips, spend time together, get in arguments, anything.
When a person is here, you get used to being with them and the rest of the family.
After someone dies, what happened to the relationship?
How do they change?
My grandmother, Marva Bryant, lived in Detroit. That's my mom's mom. I call her Mimi. Everybody's relationship with their grandparents is different. I'm lucky that I talk to my grandmother every day. Ever since I was a baby, I would go to Detroit to stay at her house with my cousins, even when my mother wasn't there. She was really, really nice to everybody. It didn't matter who you were. She made sure people was taken care of. Mimi died when I was in the 5th grade of a rare heart disease. And when she died, there were so many people there. They told me,
She was a teacher.
She helped a lot of people.
She never cared about where you came from. She only cared about how you were as a person.
I think the hardest thing after she died was that we don't have her house to go to in Detroit. Now when we go to Detroit, it's like a piece is missing.
After my grandma died, my other family and I got separated too. I was keeping in contact, but then I thought, they don't answer when I call. What's the point of calling them? Should I just delete the number?
And when they do call, I wonder, are you calling because you feel guilty or lonely? Why would you call me now?
Sometimes people fall out when they don't have a common person to meet with. My cousin didn't talk to us for 4 years.
I don't talk to my little brother anymore.
How do you know who to trust when you're grieving?
How do you make an escape plan?
What do you need and who?
When she passed away, I felt as if I couldn't stop it because it was not under my control. I started to get more attached to my dad because he was the only one I felt if I could talk to. Then my dad passed away. I felt as if I could have prevented my father from passing away by calling him that day or even being with him that day. I always get the feeling that I'm the one to blame for his death. How do I escape from that? When I think about escape, I think about what's in my mind.
For people who experience loss right now, my advice is to stay strong. It's important to not let a loss change you. My brother Worky was shot in 2019. Since then, I've been keeping my head up and watching out for people who pretend to be something they're not. I also try to forget the scenes of it, but not forget about the person.
Oftentimes, when we experience the death of a person, so much emphasis is on the death. But it's also important to remember the life, not just how they died, but that they lived. I won't blame the world. It wasn't the world's fault.
Without you in my life, it's like walking in the dark.
We laughed, we played. I think about you every day.
I promise the world will remember your name.
Latrell was one of my best friends in middle school. He passed away that summer after the 5th grade from cancer. That was my first summer after my grandmother died. I had known the people that had died at my age, but not well. Latrell was one of my closest friends. It just shocked me. When I found out my friend Lil Mo died, I was numb. Lil Mo wasn't the closest friend from my neighborhood, but I had known him since I was little. My last memory of him was when I was going to the mall with my friend who I call my brother. And he told us, "Be safe, y'all." And then he went to the corner store. Later, he died at that same corner store. When I found out he died, it threw me for a loop. With my grandma, she died of an illness, and she was older, so it was easier to accept. She lived a full life. When Latrell died, he died of an illness too, but losing a friend was different from losing a grandmother. When Lil Mo died, it felt like a stab. Losing a friend to gun violence is different than anything in the world. Lil Mo died over nothing. He died because of someone else's actions. It could have been controlled. A lot of people don't know what it's like. People try to judge him when he died because of how he died. But at the end of the day, he was a kid. When you 15, even if you make a bad choice, you're a kid. You don't deserve to die.
When something bad happens in your life, is it hard to trust the good?
What makes you turn positive from negative?
It's hard.
When something positive happens, I find a way to doubt myself.
That's what grief does.
Sometimes it's crushing.
Sometimes I can get through it.
It's different depending on the day.
And now that we're stuck in the house with nothing but our thoughts, it's hard to escape that.
When you're in quarantine, you're locked inside your house.
When you're grieving, you're locked inside of your head.
You have all the time to think.
Grief is different for everybody, but everyone needs the space to feel what they want to feel.
You have to let yourself feel those emotions and not worry about how others feel or tell you to feel. It's the same at times like this quarantine.
How can I get out of my head?
Make an escape plan.
I write songs, I cook.
I ask for space.
My advice is to stay positive. I say if you're thinking about the person who died, just think positive instead of negative.
Some days you will feel different. The pain may hit differently or feel different depending on your mood and how you experience the grief.
I don't want to tell you that the pain will get better, but just like this quarantine, it won't last forever.
Like it or not, this epidemic is giving us a lot of time to feel all those feelings that normally you can find a way to distract yourself from.
Don't let your environment get you down. Whether you're in a house that is toxic or your neighborhood or your phone, it's going to be all right.
If you're missing someone, shoot them a text, let them know.
People need to hear that they matter. Let people know how you're feeling. Don't hold anything back.
If you're missing somebody, tell them, even if you're not on good terms, because you just don't know how long this is going to last.
Make space to grieve the way you need to for yourself. It's different for everybody.
There was a period in my life where I literally would not want to come home because I didn't want to have a moment to think about what happens when you die. What's going to happen when I die? But I've learned that I just have to give myself space to grieve. That's the best advice I can give. You don't need to cry, don't cry. You don't want a whole bunch of people asking you, are you okay? Tell them that.
Don't stress yourself out if you don't know what to do.
Or if you don't think you're grieving the right way.
Just by living, you're doing it right.
There's always hope.
So don't stress the escape plan, just live.